Welcome my friends to my roundup of 2018, part of a challenge, and I've been nominated by Mark Davison. And the first question is, what was your best crop of this year? Well, other than getting nearly 4,500 litres of spent compost, we did exceptionally well with the red onions. I didn't have any go to seed. I've actually put one to seed so that I can get some more of the seed in the future. So by the end of summer this will have gone to seed, and then I'll be able to sow those and hopefully get a good strain that don't actually physically goes to seed every time we get some dry weather. Did water them well this time, but really pleased with those. And last year's broad beans, which we harvested in the summer, did exceptionally well considering the beast from the east, and we had quite a good crop before the black fly started. So those are my two crops that I was really pleased with this year. Question 2 was, what was your worst crop of 2018? Well, it's got to be me Brussels sprouts. No, I think even William and Ryan have got better Brussels than me. William Coleman and Ryan from A Little Dirt Never Hurt. Absolute. Ooh, those look better. Definitely not going to peel them. Whitefly has been a lot of the issue. I think everyone has actually had a little bit of this, especially here in the UK. They just keep attacking. This cold weather won't kill them, so just keep giving them a shake, and let's hope we can get some purple sprouting broccoli from this January and February. So that's my worst crop, and that was my Brussels sprouts this year. So question 3 is, what would you do differently or lessons learned? Well, you may have recently seen my reveal on the parsnips in the 4-foot box and the 8-foot containers, which are sunk right into the ground. And I got quite a good crop of parsnips. But this year, as you may know, I didn't do very well with the carrots. I had a lot fork. Now that's very unusual for me, and I believe it's how I actually prepared these beds. Normally I would put manure right at the bottom. Now I think I may have used my spent potato compost right to the top, which inadvertently caused the carrots to take the goodness from that the potatoes hadn't used and caused them to fork. These didn't get as big because I did a second sowing. So one of the lessons is to prepare my beds correctly. It's all experimentation, and to sow all the carrots at the same time, because I do know that the carrots that are sowed early on are still in really good condition. These are the carrots I've mulched for the winter, and we'll be revealing some of those in January and February. This bed has now been prepared, but as you can see, the top layer, we'll allow that to sink, and then the top part will be very similar to what I've done in the carrot bed in the polytunnel. Now, we had a little look at this bed and all the extra tips and advice I got, and on the same day I filmed the me sieving the compost and what I'm actually using for the bottom layer and then the top layer. So I've been busily sieving away, and basically I'm filling this right up so I can actually push this into there, and then the top layer will go in at the last moment. All the material will probably be bagged up ready to go, but hopefully when I plant the carrots there will be no goodness in the first 200 mil, 300 mil a foot, and that way the taproot will go down, feed off all those goodies in the bottom. and before I put the top layer on, I shall actually be feeding it with my liquid plant food. So let the liquid plant food soak down, put the top layer of compost on, set everything out, plant all the carrots. So that's what I'm doing, lessons learned and doing differently. The next challenge, the next question, what was the most challenging thing I had to do over this year of 2018? And I must say, it's got to be the leeks with the allium leaf miner, the grub, whatever. So I decided, because of the issues I had, I'd put them in pots. And that did not help one little bit. It was either in the ground or in the compost, or that little moth come along and did its thing and destruction. Some people think by netting will cure it. It'll cure it if you haven't got the grub in the soil, because the grub will pupate, moth will come out, it can't get out the netting, it'll be trapped inside and devastate your crop. But everybody got devastation this year, and it's moving across the country slowly, but for surely everyone will end up with it. So these started dying off. These were the better ones, and I was told 2 years ago, or longer than that, to actually cut them off. Make sure we hadn't got the leaf miner in the bottom part. Keep tracing it down, and look at this, unbelievable results. Now 1 or 2 have gone to seed, or maybe going to seed. It's just you can sort of tell that this one might have been going to seed. This is where I cut it off, and I have got 1 seed pod showing. I'm going to let that go to seed, and I'll get some seeds anyway. I'll try to seed save. But that was my most challenging, and maybe once we do a reveal, maybe my most successful. These are the leeks that I've actually given up complete hope for, but I still decided to give them a go, and we won't know until we do the reveal. But it is very cold this morning, so the leek has just drifted over a bit, but it looks like that one's going to seed. So yes, so that's that question. Question 5 is, what are your plans for next year? Well, I'm going to raise this up another pallet depth, just so that I can keep topping this up with materials and eventually be able to use that elsewhere around the allotment. I'll be thinking about my no-dig beds towards the end of 2019 and getting materials to do that. So we'll be starting at the bottom there. The brassica cage will be there, rotation. That's 1, 2, 3, 4 beds, and they'll be 2 meters wide by the length of the plot. So I don't know how many I'll be getting in, and I'll be using the wood chips out the paths, the bottom part, the wood chips, to help fill those beds. And as you know, I've got manure and spent compost all over the place. I will also be trying to get this polytunnel as maintenance free as possible for easy watering. The soil, when it's and the compost, etc., and everything I add to it, dries out really quickly within the beds. I found it so much easier over this summer with my giant vegetables to keep this soil more moist. I've emptied this one out, put into there, so we've been putting a mix in all the way to the top, similar to the beds, trying depending on what I decide to grow, because 2019 I'm really going to try for a giant tomato, heavy cucumber, long cucumber, and a few other things. So that is the answer to that question. The next question is, who has inspired you most throughout 2018? And like others, it's very, very difficult to say. I do watch a lot of the small gardening channels. They are very interesting. You learn lots of new things, because sometimes, like my channel, it gets a little bit repetitive. I try not to be, but it does. But the new channels always seem to give you inspiration. And if I do have to name some people, Mike Hurdis, Steve from Steve's Seaside Allotment, Muddy Boots, Michael Brotherton. Like I say, you know, you just, the list is never ending. So basically, everybody that I watch and that I comment to, I do get inspiration from. So thank you to everyone. And the last one, we've got to nominate somebody or a few people. Nice muley radish. So I'm not sure who's actually done this and who has and hasn't, but Ryan from A Little Dirt Never Hurt, William Coleman, and G&B Allotment blog or vlog. And if you haven't been nominated by anyone, then please upload a video and share your 2018 roundup. Garlic are doing all right, Mike Hurdis, and my red onions have started coming through. So I'd like to thank everyone who's supported me through 2018 with their comments, kind words, constructive comments, and for all the thumbs up. I do struggle to watch everyone's videos, so if you comment on my channel, you do get priority first. And I do struggle to watch anything over 20 minutes, so I do apologise, but everyone knows that if, like Mark Davison, just gives me the heads up, so I watch their video. And I've got some videos that I've got to catch up on. Michael Brotherton, Muddy Boots, and Steve's Seaside Allotment. I think I'm going to have to sit down and have a relaxing time watching their videos. Happy gardening to you all. Till next time, my friends. Ta-ra for now. I found them in a skip, Nigel. To answer your question, smelly, but after the washing them, they were perfect. That's where I get most of my gloves from.